with. Hello.
Yo, what's up? What is up? Laugh is Good is back, motherfuckers. Welcome to our awesome podcast about all things
Pop culture, business, and everything in between. With, again, 0 subscribers and 0 view. Oh, we got a viewer. Hello. How are you? All right, so we always start off our little podcast with the topic.
How was the week?
And I always ask you that question first.
The week was good.
I was going to say, but this week you'll ask me it, but you obviously
How was
didn't.
your week?
Okay, so how was my week? It was such a week that I can't even remember where it started. Let me pull out my other phone. Give me a second. My week. Oh, okay. It was interesting. We're now week 4 of my personal project that I'm doing. And we're just sorting out all the workflows, and we're getting all the tech that we need on board so everything can be very seamless, that we can put more people in. And once we put more people in, which will hopefully be next week, we'll put more people in, and then when we create the products and the content, we're going to do it 3 months ahead. So we're going to have a backlog of like 3 months, and then we're going to get everything ready. And when we push it out, it's going to be very aggressive, because you have to be very aggressive now, right? Because there's so many copycats. And
Where can the viewers find you on?
Nowhere yet. You have to hold on, maybe on Forbes magazine in 1 year. I'm joking. No, I'm not actually joking. I am not joking. Hopefully, I'll let you guys know. Yeah. And what else has been going on? Oh, I was talking to a few friends of mine, and they were talking about the effect of lockdown and relationships. So I've got some really, really not amazing, but really insightful insights in regards to that, which I would like to discuss today, especially as Singapore is going into a lockdown permutation, I would say.
Yeah. Back to level 2, was it?
Whatever level it is, but they're really creative with the permutations, and I like how they put this system in place. So I want to talk about that. But how was your week?
My week was awesome, man.
Impeccable. Amazing.
Immaculate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was good.
What do you do?
Nothing too spectacular.
Sorry, I forgot my drink. Drink.
Yo, drink. Where you at?
All right. Okay, here we are.
Pretty chill, pretty ordinary week on my end.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you excited about anything? What were you excited about this week?
Well, there are a lot of exciting things happening out there.
Like?
Well, we had DOGE mooning.
Yes. That was crazy. And if you would have put 1,000 in January, I think you would have like 0.1 right now.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And it makes me feel like people are saying that this is basically what's going to happen at the end of the year. So I'm thinking I need to stop being so stingy with my money and just put like 1,000 on a few things.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I would have had 0.1 right now. That is crazy if you think about it. Like, how crazy is that?
Yeah. There was a thing that I saw that said, like, if you put all your stimmy checks into it, it would be like worth $800,000 or something into DOGE.
But what happens? Everybody's thinking that Elon Musk is going to say something fabulous when he goes on SNL. What happens if he goes, this was all a joke and DOGE is a useless piece of shit?
Well, he kind of did say that. He was
going to hate him. But then I don't think he can say that, because then people will hate him.
I mean, he constantly says that. It's like, the most funny outcome is probably the most, probable one. That's the thing. So, like, it would be really funny if Dogecoin would be like the biggest coin out there, because, like, basically a joke currency, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't think he's taking it too seriously, you know.
But people are.
I mean, like for example, what he did in Tesla was like he didn't put it all in Dogecoin. He put a bunch of money in Bitcoin.
People are saying that people are expecting his SNL skit is going to be. He's going to say something about DOGE, the hype, the bubble. It's going to even increase higher. What's your take on that?
I don't know. I think.
Do you think they're being a bit too, preemptive with the whole thing, and they're just?
I don't know really. You never know what to expect with that guy. You know, it can be anything really. I don't think they'll go too crazy with like, I think it'll be like really memey and really stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think he's doing this on purpose? Do you think he knows the new currency, the new social currency, is the meme?
Yeah,
do you think that's what he's basically aiming for?
Yeah, I think so.
Because it really, really does help his brand.
Yeah.
Right?
And he's pretty much been like this forever, he's always like dad jokes, memes, stupid things like that. He used to like tweet about Ambien in wine, things like that.
So this has been very consistent with his brand image throughout, from PayPal days to now.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it goes that way back, but
how back are we talking about?
The last 7-8 years,
Okay.
He's never been a serious guy, I don't think.
Fair enough. But do you think he's capitalizing on it more? Because the more he sees, obviously he's getting feedback, and he's a very intuitive guy, and he's seeing the feedback, and he's seeing that people are responding to this persona, right? Do you think he's playing into it now?
I don't think it's really helping him that much. Maybe with Tesla, but like everything else, I don't think like it's either not affecting him that much. Like for example, SpaceX, their biggest customers are like generally government people.
Yes.
Like this, I mean, he even got in trouble about the puff of like weed he smoked with all the government stuff, because you can't be,
How did that?
I mean, I think he got away with it, but it's
because they needed his stuff, right?
Yeah. On Tesla side, I mean, the company is such a crazy company that I don't know. It's really difficult to tell if his reckless, memey vibes are helping there. But, I don't know. He's a crazy dude, and I don't think he really cares.
What does this mean for the new CEO?
Yeah, I don't know.
What does this mean to be a new CEO? What do you think it means?
It's a good question, man. I don't know. I think like.
Oh, I got a good question from the Renza too. That's amazing. Oh, I love that. High five to that. It's a good question. Yes. You guys hear that?
Yeah, I think like the core is like, what Gary Vee says, right? It's like authenticity stuff, right?
Yes.
I think, if you're like that, it makes sense to be authentic, but you can't, I don't think it makes sense to try to be like that,
Yeah.
So it would be really lame and, boring if Jeff Bezos acted like, Elon. So I don't know. We'll see, man. I think it'll be. In general, I think there's a shift, as you say. Like, it's more acceptable to have like a beard as a CEO. It's more acceptable to be,
tattoos.
Yeah, things like that. Colored hair. So that is changing with like.
Definitely, I think it started. I'm not sure if you've said this before, but it started with the whole Silicon Valley thing, where they showed that we were, I think in pop culture definitely, and in the wider culture, it started with people wearing Zuckerberg. Remember? It's very iconic. It's very iconic, right? No, actually, hang on. Pause. Roll it all back. Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
With those turtleneck and jeans, right? Yeah. And then came the young kids with the hoodie.
Yeah.
In a room full of suits.
Yeah.
Right? So that kind of like turned everything around. And I feel now what's happening with especially work from home and all that culture, right? And how everything is like changing in a way. A lot of the hierarchy is being broken because people are even when I look to hire people, I am going to hire a lot of freelancers because guess what? It's so much easier and it's so much more conducive.
Yeah.
Outsourcing, and when you have outsourcing, and the people who are going into all that, right? Like you were saying, to be a programmer, you don't need to go to school. And to be a good copywriter, you don't have to go to school. Mm-hmm. It could help, but you don't have to.
Yeah.
Because they look at samples of work. So I feel like the whole like higher education and that whole image is kind of like, deteriorating as well.
Yeah. I certainly 100%. Yeah, what else happened? We had the SpaceX landing.
Yep. Which I know nothing about.
Yeah. They landed their latest prototype.
Okay.
Big ass rocket.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 50 meters tall.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how heavy it is. Pretty crazy heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And it flew up to 20 kilometers or something.
Yeah.
And then it landed back.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty, and without exploding, landed back.
Oh, so that's a big thing.
Yeah. They landed it once more, but it exploded like a few minutes afterwards because of a little fire, and it landed hard landing.
Okay.
Yeah. So what else happened?
That is very, very interesting, right?
It's a big step because it's a whole different size of when it's done, it's going to be the most powerful rocket ever made. So it's like a really huge rocket, and it's going to make it really, easier to put, bigger satellites into orbit, and also, take people to other planets.
So I have a question. The organizational structure of Tesla. So Tesla is a parent company, and so
Of what?
Of Starlink.
No.
What was the organizational structure of this whole thing?
They're currently separate companies. SpaceX and Tesla, they're separate companies. Starlink is a division of SpaceX, the space company, but they're talking about spinning it off once it's more established.
So he basically started two different companies at the same time?
I think roughly, yeah. Yeah, he was more involved in early days. He was more involved in SpaceX, and he was just like a big investor in Tesla. Someone else was running it.
Okay.
And things didn't go so well, so he had to step
Tesla?
in. Yeah.
Okay.
And he's kind of stuck with it ever since.
That's interesting, right? Do you think when he came in, he had to reshuffle and reorganize a lot, or do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Well, I mean, you pretty much have to, right?
I was thinking, like, how much did you walk into a good functioning company or a good functioning, system that just needed time to mature, versus him? It was him actually that pushed it further.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to.
I'm not really sure, actually. I haven't really looked into it, but from what I can tell, it was doing pretty badly.
Yeah.
And it was either going to be like, the company's going to go bust, or someone's going to step in, find some more money, and keep it going. Yeah.
We usually don't see innovation with Apple, but we did see it kind of like Steve Jobs. He basically got kicked out of Apple, started Pixar, right? And then went back to Apple. So we created two kind of different disparate companies in a way that this guy has, but at the same time, we've never seen that happen, right?
What do you mean that happened?
With somebody who's quite like influential, like they're pushing the boundaries, right? So Tesla, I think it has, obviously, I don't think the technology is 100%, correct me if I'm wrong, because I do not know much about it.
No, it's not there yet.
It's not like 100% push the boundaries, right?
No.
But he has, Starlink, I think, has.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think like the cool thing about Tesla is the vision there. I think that's what people are buying into. I mean, electric cars is pretty cool what they've done. And from what I can tell, most people are really happy with their cars, with their Teslas. so that's always cool to make a cool product that everybody loves is I think pretty significant. But like what they're doing, like they also have a division of solar, which is like called Solar City. They're basically creating communities that run on solar panels and like solar energy, and they're semi self-sufficient, and like urban communities, like nothing like remote stuff. So eventually that would scale probably. And they have like their battery technology that they use for industrial stuff. So they're kind of changing the way that they're moving a lot of stuff that would normally be not electric into electric. And since especially like transportation and industrial stuff are like the biggest carbon producers out there, right? So it's, if you can make a dent, it's pretty meaningful. So I think that's cool.
Do you think it's his I wouldn't say flamboyant style. I can't find a better word at the moment. But do you think it's eccentric style and his larger than life personality and the amazing marketing that they have done with Tesla?
I don't know how it really works.
I think just like I say, as amazing as the product, like the Apple product was, we agree to disagree on this. I think it was not groundbreaking, but what he did was he got a bunch of amazing things and he packaged it in the best way possible for humans. And I feel he made it more human. He made technology and the product human. He made it a seamless integration into our lives, right? And he made technology less, metal and clinky, more beauty, more of a work of art. And I feel what Elon has done with Tesla is the same thing. People would think of electronic cars as ugly, it's not very sexy. But then he made this beautiful, very sexy product.
Yeah.
Right? And now he's like, if you see the push, the marketing push, remember we watched that music video with Saweetie? The Tesla with the little crystals, amazing. Yeah, now he's pushing it. And now when you look at a Tesla like that, you think, oh my God, that looks like a Lambo or a Ferrari. So he's really like making it a really sexy car.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, I think it's, they've done a really great job, especially like they were calling I don't know if you've seen the Cybertruck thing.
Yes.
Like the best marketing, like most genius marketing move ever. They do things like that are really weird, but when you think about it, it's pretty genius. So I don't know, the team there. I mean, he has some amazing people working for him, right? So, obviously they're gonna find clever ways to create buzz and
I think what the similarities I always compare him and Jobs together, because I feel it's a bit more than just creating something good. I think you create, this is what I always say, even for musicians or anything, basically, one thing is about creating something, and the other thing is changing people's perception on something. Do you know what I mean? So when you create something, you could make the best computer, but does that make a product good? When you're pushing the innovation curve in technology, is it actually the technology when that's pushed, do people go like, oh my God, that's amazing? Or when people can use things, the wider majority can use it?
I think what you said just a minute ago is like, it's really the holy grail, right? If you can have the whole
all these compliments, oh my God. What did you drink or smoke today?
No, but I think it's the biggest thing, you try to, as a company, if you can make the whole package, not just a product, but like what Steve Jobs did, right? If you can make a crazy good functioning user interface, like user experience, really good technology, things just work and looks nice, I remember people were like making fun of Apple for not including a keyboard, like a physical keyboard on the iPhone. And they were like, no one's going to buy this. You can't write email on this. It's like having that, making that experience. Normally, it would be such a bad experience on a touchscreen that people would say that, right? You won't be able to write an email on that. Yeah. But they've made it such a great typing experience, for example. So they kind of crushed it really. And I actually like it on a technical side.
Mm-hmm.
A few years ago, I watched a talk from one of the developers that did the initial keyboard software.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of thought that they put into that is like crazy. Normally, what you would do is like you would have a bunch of buttons on a screen, and then if you touch it, you've touched it, right? It's like, but they put like a bunch of predictive, algorithms inside it, and like a bunch of modeling. So like it's actually guessing what you're writing. Like even in the first version, trying to guess like what's the most probable key that you'll press there. So it kind of weights buttons depending on how likely you are to push them. So it's easier to click on them, right? They call it the hitbox. The hitboxes grow and shrink depending on the algorithm. Yeah,
that's crazy.
In the background.
That's
you
crazy,
don't you don't feel it. But, so they put like crazy idea, like no one ever did that, things like that. And they had like a bunch of different divisions working on these things. Like it's not just one team doing the keyboard. It's like a bunch of different UX teams, programming teams, all trying to solve, these problems. So in the end, it was a pretty good product. Plus, they marketed it like really well.
Their marketing was mind-blowing. And the one thing that I found very interesting about them, like sometimes we do talk about 48 laws of power. And one thing they say there, which I've been really putting into practice in my life, is you need to know when to stop. And that's the thing that if you've noticed what Apple does, whenever there's a new technology, they're very careful into releasing that. They want to ensure that the usability and that nothing's going to go wrong.
Yeah.
So example, when we had tablets and like hybrid computers, like tablet and computer, hybrid laptop tablets, Apple never really went into that.
Yeah.
And that really irked me because I needed something like that. And
they got a lot of heat for that.
Yeah, and I don't know the reason why they didn't, but maybe the reason was because it could have been a thing that they wanted to have tablets and they wanted to have a computer. They wanted everybody to buy 2 or 3 devices, which it probably could be because they are a bit like that.
Yeah.
Or it could be that the technology just wasn't there, or they didn't want to invest that much technology.
Yeah. In general, they never do 2-in-1 things. I've never seen them do like, this can also do this. All their products just do one thing.
But now with iPad Pro, they're finally kind of going into. So I'm like, why now? Because I do know that a lot of firms like LG, Lenovo, they have issues with the hybrid.
I think what happened with the iPad is like they practically refused to do a keyboard for it for I don't know, maybe 10 years. Right? It was like, and the market was full of third-party keyboards that didn't work that well. People were like bitching about it, like customers were bitching about it, rightfully, because they want to fight for the keyboard, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, we'll do it. And I think it's not a huge product line. I think it's like the keyboards.
I'm wondering why they don't have. I don't know why. Do you think it was more of them going, we're going to make more money? We've got such a cult following anyway. We're going to have more money because people think that once you get an Apple product, it's worth the money because it never really breaks down. So did they think that nobody's going to actually switch to another computer?
I don't know.
I would really like to know about that.
Yeah. I mean, the stuff that goes on there is pretty secretive, so you can't really have much insight into their decision-making process. But I mean, my feeling is like simplicity, that kind of those values, doing one thing good. I think that kind of still runs throughout the company. So, but is it motivated by financial stuff, like you say? Maybe,
I mean, if you think, the simplicity is the branding.
I mean, like one of the weird things is like they continue to do the iPod Touch for many, many years after the iPhone. That's like why would you do that?
I think that is for people who can't afford the iPhone for other markets, basically.
Yeah, but I mean, wasn't that much cheaper?
Yeah, but it's other markets where they don't have reliable internet, because for an iPhone, you need an ecosystem. So there were markets they didn't do that well in, because the ecosystem of an Apple iPhone would not work there. So an iPod was perfect because it was like a hard drive almost, right? So
yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Actually, today I saw a statistic about their earpods, which is another really curious, weird product. But the revenue, the earpods revenue is like one of the highest. Like when you compare earpods revenue to like big tech companies, it's like right behind Tesla and Netflix. I mean, if you exclude like the giants like Amazon and stuff. It's right behind Tesla and Netflix. It's the third behind these companies. It's I forget, but like around $30 billion a year or something, just from friggin'
those AirPods. AirPods were the biggest scam. They've been the biggest scam of the 21st century.
People love it though.
No,
People
I know, but the thing, I know
they
it's
lose
cool.
it and buy it again. You know.
Okay, I'll tell you what. It's a flex, and once you go into that, you're like, oh my god, it's like there's no cords. It's amazing. First of all, you don't need them. Okay, number two. You don't want all that Bluetooth radiation or whatever it's called going in your head. You actually don't. You want to be okay, but you do want to be as natural as possible, right? Number two, people don't care. Number three, once you try it on, you're like, oh, this is so much cooler. And then it was a flex where everybody was like, oh, I can actually afford, like, how much is it? 260 or $200 earphones. That was a flex, and your earphones are $100.
Yeah.
So it was a whole flex. It was like the new, basically. It was the same thing with Beats, right?
Yeah.
Or you got a $10 earphone. Oh, well, I've got like a $100 earphone. That was initially number one. And then it was so iconic. That white thing, so simple, yet so iconic.
Yeah.
You know, and it was basically a status of affluence.
Yeah.
Right? But funny thing, Huawei's earphones actually do sound better. And they look exactly the same. But Huawei's earphones sound better than Apple's earphones, because I actually tried the Apple earphone.
Yeah.
I heard the music because my first Huawei didn't work. So I tried it, Barron's, and then I heard mine and I was like, oh my God, Huawei sounds so much better. So yeah.
I believe that. I don't know, like Apple phones never, like earphones never sounded that great. I don't know. So it's a really curious company. I don't know. They're talking about them making cars. There's this rumors about them making cars or like collabing with another car company or something.
Well, I think for the earphones, I do understand why they went into that, because I mean, anything that makes money is amazing, right?
But it's a weird thing to like get into. I don't know. Well, and it's not like from Beats; it's from like Apple, right?
Well, I think it was basically they're expanding their ecosystem, right?
I don't know. It's weird.
So the whole thing is amazing because it is part of the ecosystem. You got an Apple AirPod, and then that connects to your watch, that connects to your phone, your computer, everything. So if you have everything Apple, all the devices, there is no way you can miss a phone call, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Because everything is synced. So I do understand that.
Yeah. Like another one is like, I couldn't understand, I still don't understand, like the Apple TV Plus thing, the subscription. You know, they're making movies and TV shows, right?
We watched a movie.
Yeah,
we watched a movie. It was really, really good.
Really good stuff. I mean, but like, why? You know, and it actually really messed their relationship with Disney. They were really close with Disney. Bob Iger, the the ex-CEO of Disney was on their board, and he had to resign. You know, it's like, why do that? And I don't think, like, I can't see the strategy there. But
I think it is basically owning, because now everything is about media companies. You know, the whole that's the new buzzword, right? Webinars and media companies. So they're just pushing that frontier now, because they know in the next 4 years, that is a big money-making machine. Like, I mean, Netflix knew this way back, right? When everybody was just saying, Netflix, whatever, is never gonna. I think people were like, nobody's gonna pay for a Netflix subscription. Initially, that's what people said. So just the same thing. That's what they know. I think they've come in a bit too late into the game. But of course, if you're that big and with that much power, you can just buy off your competitors, and you know. Yeah,
I don't know. It's a weird case, and also there was a court ruling, I think, last week.
Yes. Oh my God. Oh my God, that's amazing. Yes. I do agree with them. They do this on purpose with Tile. So tile was this amazing thing. Did you hear about it?
I don't know tile.
Okay, tile is like basically a tile. And if you lose something, it tells you where it is. So you can attach it to your key, you can attach it to your phone. And basically it'll beep, and it's like a GPS thing, GPS tracker basically. And basically initially they had a great partnership with Apple, everything was good, and then Apple of course stole their stuff. And then in the back end, in the back end they changed stuff. They didn't release it to their developers. What's the developers or the developing community? And so tile obviously couldn't be as good because Apple had the access to some special whatever. And then they made a ripoff.
What I was talking about was different, but
you were talking about how the App Store is unfair. Yeah, which is basically the same thing as what they're doing. So they basically, what Apple does is basically
it's another odd
they
thing.
don't what they do is they don't let people, when they upgrade stuff, they don't let the developers see everything.
They don't.
What is that called in technical terms?
They call it private APIs. They don't let
it's an API.
well,
Okay.
You can look into it, but you can't use it. You're not allowed to use it. Their reasoning is to say,
security, right?
Not security, but we don't want you guys to be using that because we might change it in the future, and it's not, it's so basically how it happens is either if Apple doesn't want you to use those features just because they don't want you to, it could be a reason. A more general reason is just because mostly new features come in through the private APIs, and then they become public through time and as they consolidate the feature sets.
Okay.
So it's some of it, one part of it is like what you said, they simply don't want developers to use some of the operating system features if they just want it for themselves. And another reason is just because they're not ready to be sharing that infrastructure yet.
As a computer person, what's your take on this?
I don't know. It's practically the opposite of what Android is doing. I don't know. Is Android much better than the
App Store?
iOS?
Well, the App Store is mind blowing.
I don't know.
When I was hearing on Bloomberg with Connie, is it Connie Chang? The little excerpt where she was talking to somebody, the Tile CEO, I think, and he was saying Apple's is because of security, and it's because to make sure that they're very reliable and how secure they are. And if they were like Android, they wouldn't be that secure, they wouldn't be that reliable. But how much of that is just
Yeah, it's a good question. It's probably a lot of it is probably bullshit.
I think this whole privacy about Apple is very privacy focused and it's very secure.
It's called laddering, right? In marketing, you position yourself. You're taking the high road with.
But I don't think. Can I be honest with you? I was reading somewhere that most people in the world, they have an iPhone. A lot of people have an iPhone, and they all have they have an Apple and they have an iPhone. So for a hacker to get through to that is easier than for an Android, because you know how many different devices and permutations of Android devices there are. Like some people have a Huawei, some people have a Samsung, some people have a. Do you see what I mean? So the market share is a bit more divided than when it comes to Apple, which is just boom, everybody has an Apple. Yeah,
if you fuck up, it's like a much bigger fuck up if for Apple, because then everybody's vulnerable to it, like you say. With Android, it's like you say, it's not that big of a deal because not everyone has it anyway, right?
Yeah. Ooh! We have a doggy. All right, come here.
He's pretty terrified, actually.
Hey, little baby. So this is our studio audience. He's always here with his dinner.
What's up?
Say hi to the live stream podcast. All right, so we were talking.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's an interesting company. But yeah, so the antitrust thing.
Yeah. Do you think that they are?
It's a lot of people are talking about. I don't know if it'll happen, but it might mean that
it might be a settlement. Is it? I'm not sure which part of the case they're at now. But there's even to the end, there will be a settlement. That's what Apple always does. Apple, the iPhone, they stole that from Creative. which was a Singapore company. It's a huge court case. You can see it. At the end, there was a settlement. It went for dragged on for years and years.
But this is more like a. It's not like one company.
It's a class lawsuit, right?
So it's not a class action, but it's like I think the European.
The ECC.
Yeah, I'm not sure who's suing them, but like basically it probably will mean their revenue from Europe will have to they'll practically have to get a smaller cut.
Why?
Like currently everything that you sell through the App Store, Apple gets like a 30% cut automatically. Same thing with like the subscriptions and everything. And like a bunch of companies were protesting that, and that's why that case happened.
Yeah.
And so basically they'll have to lower the cut.
I feel when you talk about innovation and the push towards innovation, and there was this thing about like, I can't remember what we were saying. We were discussing this, and I was actually reading about it as well. Like, people in the tech world, they don't really want to patent ideas, right? Because it's a push for innovation. It's a very collaborative culture, so as to speak.
Yeah.
I think what Apple is doing is completely the opposite of that.
Yeah.
It's not pushing towards that culture. Now I'm thinking, is their marketing team, is their PR team going to be strong enough to weather this storm with the current climate that, people are with?
I don't know.
That whole thing about, F Wall Street, F the 1%.
I mean, they can take it, man. Last I looked, it was like $2.5 trillion company, right?
But I'm wondering if it's going they can take it, but I'm wondering if it's going to affect anything. If people are going to finally wake up, in my opinion, and see Apple for what it is, that it's not some really, really cool, hippie firm. It's not. There's a lot of ethical issues right there with Apple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
what I'm interested in. But I do know the sheeple, excuse the term, will continue loving Apple. And that kind of like really irks me. Because the only thing good about Apple, the only thing good about Apple is the marketing, amazing, and the camera. That's literally it, I feel.
Well, I mean, they've had a lot of contributions in general. Like, for example,
for marketing,
Chrome, the original Chrome, is like basically 99% Apple product.
Yes, but it's a symbiotic relationship. If you think about it, that's why we talk about tech. Every frontier that is pushed is symbiotic, and that's why we were saying people are saying that patents. We're not really going to patent our technology because it's a collaborative environment. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, so I mean, they are secretive and very, very non.
Look at that.
They don't like playing with people. They like to do their own thing and everything. But in the end, I don't know. It's they do have some good things that they do too. So
no, I'm not saying it's a bad firm. I just think that in an environment where people are very aware of what they're consuming, and they're talking about being ethical. The thing about that, Apple's iPhones and the way they mine the products and their supply chain, there's a lot of issues right there, and they're not very ethical.
Yeah.
The way they get that has just been kind of like eradicated from the narrative.
Yeah.
Now even this is going to be eradicated from the narrative. Yeah. But then you have other firms where they do anything, it becomes a huge issue.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't know. Should we
I really wanted to talk about something else, but I think it's time for okay. Last one. The effect of lockdowns on humans. Did you just see the tweet or the video or whatever that Will Smith showed?
No.
The effect of lockdown on his body.
What does he talk about?
Well, he showed how not fat, but he was like out of shape, and he was like, "This is what lockdown has done," and I was very happy about it because you know why? It's very important for people around the world to know that this is not the normal times that we're living in, and lockdown does affect us, and it's okay for us to be, have quarantine chubs. It's not healthy, but it does happen. So it's very happy because I don't think a lot of celebrities have actually come and said openly, you know what, I'm really out of shape.
Yeah.
A lot of them are still so perfect
Well, yeah, it's much more easier to be in shape when you're a celebrity, right?
Or you're gonna say when you're on cocaine.
That helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like no, because they have access to like personal gyms and everything, so or like bigger living areas that they can, make use of. Yeah, I think so, man. I think there's like the mental health stuff as well.
The
right?
mental health stuff, and I do want we need to humanize.
Yeah.
People feel, and even I felt the pressure. Like once, lockdowns were lifted, you're going to bounce right back. Nobody ever talks about that. The little changing, the little the little It's a busy day today at the Satu household. PHB. What was I saying? Completely lost my train of thought. Yes, yeah. to like basically transition from lockdown to things opening up. Because when you're in lockdown and you look a certain way, or you've gained a bit of weight, or whatever it is, you're not that healthy, or you're not feeling that good about certain things, or your mental health is not the best. They're like, oh, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And the moment things open up, they expect you to bounce back. And society is a bit like that. Nobody ever says nobody ever talks about the transition period and the effect the transition period has. We always focus on lockdown and open. We never talk about the transition period. And I feel the transition period is the hardest period. Going in and out of lockdown, like most countries have, it's not easy. And I feel the hardest part is the transition period, because we've experienced complete freedom and we've experienced complete lockdown. But each time we go, the transitions are very difficult because we are in two different environments, and we're having to navigate those environments while maintaining a certain level of living.
Yeah. I mean, you can't, but we can't stay in lockdown forever.
No,
right?
I get it. But what I'm just trying to say is that each time the switch is on or off.
Yeah.
When we transition, we don't really talk about. We talk about open or closed. We don't talk about the effect that this transition has. This being in the constant state of flux, the effect that is having on people. Like a year ago, a year and a half ago, we were talking about we never really talked about mental health. A year and a half ago, we were just saying that people definitely knew that there might be repercussions, but we never knew to what degree. But then, and I think another 6-7 months later, or another at the end of this year, the repercussions of going in and out and living in that constant state of flux, there's going to be big repercussions for that, which I feel that society and governments should prepare for.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yes, because I feel that was the reason why I was a bit still like in lockdown mode. And the moment I got out of my lockdown mode, we're back in lockdown. Well, ironic.
It's a pretty soft lockdown.
Yes, I do know, but they're saying this. They're saying that.
I mean, we're in Singapore, right? So it's
I'm very happy with.
It's funny when we talk about this.
That is true. But you have to understand something as well, that it's a lot more strict. As in, if you were somewhere else, you could go somewhere potentially. You're not meant to, but you could go. Here you go, you are out.
Yeah.
So it's a stricter enforcement of the rules compared to other places.
But overall, much.
No, definitely better. Rules. Then where?
And people in full lockdown, for example. Right?
Yeah, but I do understand, but a lot of people in full lockdown, not really 100% in full lockdown.
Yeah.
But I do feel that the government's done an amazing job, because initially they had 2 weeks, right, of lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
And then they said it was going to be, then they extended it to 3 weeks. And now the new variant is apparently quite dangerous. It's very, very dangerous.
Yeah.
So it's exciting.
We're going to see, man. I don't know.
Do you think they'll be able to rein everything in by the 30th? Because they're saying now we might actually go back to circuit breaker. And with all the permutations of lockdown, I can't remember what circuit breaker was. Because I know that we had phase 1, 2, 3, circuit breaker.
Don't go out.
Oh, basically lockdown. They call it. Okay, I love the rebranding. You gotta give hats off to the rebranding.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
The way they dealt with it was amazing. The branding, the rebranding, and the stages, it was amazing. I loved it. And the way, if you're ever implementing any kind of change, this is what you do.
Well, I think everybody knew what was,
I know they did, but then if it was so easy, no other government did it. You know what I mean? You can't just say that, oh yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of other governments did it, actually.
They didn't call it circuit breaker. They only called it after Singapore called it circuit breaker. I was watching very carefully.
No, I mean, like in general, for example, a few Gulf countries, like Bahrain.
Okay, those countries and Singapore are kind of very, very similar. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're in the similar kind of you know. I'm talking about countries like other countries.
Yeah, I think if you're small country, generally, I think they did.
I do not think again it's about a small country. I refuse to say that. No.
No, it's just easier. It's easier to manage.
I know. I think I can see small countries doing horribly in this whole thing, and we're 5 million people, and we're incredibly compact and travel. This was like a hot spot for people going in and out all the time. A lot of the economy depended on that as well. So I think they've done really, really well, exceedingly well.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying they did badly. I'm just saying it's easier to do better.
I don't think it's easier. I do not think so. People think that, because all the men have gone to the military, they're used to things like that. I think those are just excuses. At the end of the day, people say, did they do it or did they not do it? And the bottom line is that they did it.
Yeah.
And I think we should
No, I agree.
We should be they're amazing. They're very decisive. Now, this was the UK, no shade to the UK, but if this is the UK, it would have taken them another week to decide, should we lock down or should we not? They were like, boom.
Democracy, man.
No, when it comes to this, that is called a government who can't do its job. It took them how many months and years to get out of the EU, even when people had already decided. So, and on that note.
Yeah. Thank you for joining the Life is Good politics edition.
See you next week, same time, same place. Bye.